Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the most must-see podcast somewhere to someone, anywhere in the world. This is Mark Side of the Ring. I'm Fred DeCourt, back again to bring you another week filled with wrestling stories, news, and events. And what an event we had yesterday, October 21st, Crown Jewel. Today is Friday. You'll be listening to this on Saturday, but Crown Jewel was this past Thursday. It was an amazing event in Saudi Arabia. People are saying it was probably the best Saudi Arabia show since it started back in 2018, and I can't disagree. It kicked off in a hell of a way, no pun intended, with the Hell in a Cell between Edge and Seth Rollins, which saw Edge get the win. I was very happy to see Edge, become victorious. I'm very curious also to see where Edge goes from here. Now that he's being drafted to Raw, as is Seth Rollins, which is kind of interesting. I thought that they would be drafted on separate brands, but they're both going to be on Raw. I don't think they'll be involved with each other. Obviously, I think that feud is done, which is the right call. Hell in a Cell is a good way to end a feud. But I'm curious to see what they do. I wouldn't be surprised if Edge is off of TV for a little bit. Maybe comes back around the Royal Rumble time, and who he feuds with. Especially going into WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens. But Edge beating Seth Rollins, one of the best Hell in a Cell matches in a long, long time, in my opinion. We saw Doudrop get defeated by Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is the first ever Queen's Crown winner, I believe is, I guess, how you would classify her. I was kind of surprised. Once Shayna Baszler didn't get moved on, I said, okay, if Shane is not getting it, then they must be giving it to Doudrop. Give her, she's the new toy, right? Shiny new toy. We'll give her this. It's a good way to, jumpstart her career. I was kind of surprised that Selena got it. I wasn't mad. I was happy for Selena. But let's be honest, before this, Queen's Crown tournament, she hadn't had a lot of W's in her column. So to see her win was kind of surprising, but not something that was a bad thing. I think she'll do really good with it. I always feel that like the King of the Ring, the Queen's Crown, is really good when a heel has it because they can embrace it and, look like a complete fool. Whereas if a good guy comes out and is, making such a big deal about being the king or the queen, it's kind of goofy. But if a heel does it, it makes sense and it works, right? And she's a great heel, so I think she'll be good with it. But anyway, Zelina Vega, first ever Queen's Crown winner. What else? We saw on the kickoff, let me not forget, we saw the Usos defeat Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. No surprise there. I figured that they would win and keep the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Goldberg defeated Bobby Lashley, which ended up becoming a no-holds-barred Falls Count Anywhere match. Really solid match. I think when you're judging and grading Goldberg matches, you're grading on a curve. But for a Goldberg match, I thought it was really good. I thought their SummerSlam match was good. I know the finish people didn't like. Nobody likes a DQ finish, which gets me to the main event in a little while. But I thought their match at SummerSlam was good. But this match was phenomenal. I really thought that it was a solid match. I love the finish. The spear off the stage through the table was tremendous. Not something you'd expect Goldberg to do. Not in 1997. Definitely not in 2021. So I really enjoyed it. Glad for Goldberg that he got the win. Maybe Bobby Lashley should have gone it, being that he just lost the title. Now he lost the title. Now he lost to Goldberg. But he'll recover. I'm not worried about it. And curious to see where he goes from here on Monday Night Raw. Because that's where he got drafted. So I'm curious to see now who he feuds with. Does he go after, the WWE Championship against Big E? Who he got beat by it for? They kind of did a little bit when he first won it. They had a rematch. They had the steel cage, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So that could be a feud down the line. But with Survivor Series coming up, that kind of, puts everything on hold because they're doing the whole Raw versus SmackDown thing. So it should be Big E versus Roman, but you never know. Things can change. The title matches may not be Raw versus SmackDown. We don't know the world title matches, but we'll see. We saw, speaking of Big E, defeating Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. No surprise here. I think we all kind of knew that Drew was going to walk away still the WWE champion. Big E was going to walk away still the WWE champion. Drew's going to SmackDown, and just made sense, right? But good match between the two. I thought it was a really solid match. We saw Mansoor, no surprise here, defeat Mustafa Ali. Good match, nothing crazy, but not a bad match. It was what it was. The job was to get Mansoor over, and it did, and he won. So, nothing really much to say about that. They did have a silver medalist. I can't recall his name. I wouldn't even know how to say it if I did recall it. Come out and beat up on Mustafa Ali. I had no idea who he was, but the people in Saudi Arabia did, and they loved it. So I guess that works. That crowd was really lively. I was very impressed with that crowd. Don't forget that they only get the 2 shows a year, and they haven't had anything in way over a year. It's been a year and a half or more since the last show was February of 2020. So it's been a long time. So they were ready, and the fans delivered. They got behind all the matches, and were a lively crowd. So good crowd. Yeah, but the hometown boy Mansoor over Mustafa Ali. We had the triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Was very excited about this match. All 3 are phenomenal: Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. And the interesting thing about this was that Becky Lynch, as we know, got drafted to Raw, and she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. So I think a lot of people were expecting Sasha Banks to maybe win it and bring the title to SmackDown. But don't forget, Charlotte, who is the current Raw Women's Champion, got drafted to SmackDown, right? So it created a very interesting situation. Tremendous match between all 3 ladies. I mean, they're 3, like I said, 3 of the best. You put Charlotte in there, that's, I think, for my money, they're the 4 best in the business right now. And Becky Lynch got the win. So Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, the SmackDown Women's Champion, will be going to Monday Night Raw with the SmackDown title. Now, as I'm recording this, SmackDown will be starting shortly, and WWE just announced that tonight, Charlotte and Becky Lynch will be having a title swap. Which is kind of what I figured they would do, but I'm sure it won't go off without a hitch. I'm sure there will be ramifications. Something will happen. Now, it should be Becky versus Charlotte at Survivor Series, SmackDown Women's Champion versus Raw Women's Champion, which would be tremendous. A rekindling of that rivalry from a couple of years ago. I mean, my God, what a rivalry they had. I was at Evolution when they faced each other in the Last Woman Standing, and it was phenomenal. They're always good together, Becky and Charlotte. So wouldn't mind seeing them going at it one more time. I think it'd be special, especially in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. But we'll see. So tonight, SmackDown title swap, Raw, SmackDown Women's Champion. We'll see if it goes down as it's supposed to. We mentioned the Queen's Crown before. We also had the King of the Ring finals, and thankfully, all is right in the world. Just when you think WWE is not going to do what they should do, they actually do it. Xavier Woods is your King of the Ring in the year 2021. I'm so excited for him. I think everybody is. He's probably the only person that has ever adamantly and continuously stressed how much he wanted to be the King of the Ring. I mean, it's a prestigious honor. Sure, it's, every King of the Ring winner is pretty much a Hall of Famer, with the exception of a couple. But, it's not maybe what it used to be. But boy, to him, it was as big as winning the world title. So I never knew if the opportunity would ever come. And if it did come, I didn't know if he would actually ever get it, but he did. I wouldn't have been mad if Finn Balor won. I love Finn Balor, but I'm happy for Xavier because I'm sure he's like legitimately excited that he won this. It was a big deal to him on a personal level. So that's cool. And I think everybody realized that which is why I'm surprised everybody did it. Like I said, they usually won't, because they know that they're going to mess with him and not give them, but they did the right thing. So Xavier Woods is the king of the ring. Very excited about that. And then in the main event, my opinion, one of the biggest matches all year long and a phenomenal match. No surprise there. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Universal Championship, and Roman Reigns got the win. Yep, Roman Reigns is still champion, but the way they did it was so good. Now, I was worried. I had said before when talking about DQ finish, nobody likes DQ finish, which we'll get to so there were a lot of rumors. People were thinking it would be a DQ finish because this is not supposed to be their only match. How do you have either one lose, right? Without, making it not possible to have a rematch. But they did it. So the ref was out and Paul Heyman threw the title in the ring. He threw it in the middle for each guy to grab. Brock went for it first, then Roman grabbed it. They had a tug of war. And then things ensued and Roman ended up getting the win. And, the Usos got involved and, the super kick to Brock, and then Roman hit Brock with the title, and then he got the pin. So it was kind of like a bullshit finish. So Brock, looks good. He didn't, and now Brock wants revenge. Now Brock's coming after Roman. He even said, I will find you on SmackDown and I'm going to kick your ass. I didn't know if Brock would be on SmackDown tonight, especially after the long flight from Saudi, but he'll be on SmackDown in Wichita, Kansas tonight. So I'm very excited about that. And they're going to definitely have another match. When, I don't know. I think it'll culminate at WrestleMania, but that's a long while away. So we'll see what they do between now and then. But great match. I love the finish. And Paul Heyman was phenomenal, as always. But his facial expression when Roman won, it was almost like he was shocked that Roman actually won and kind of like, oh, shit. I don't know what to do now because, was he going to have Brock win or help Brock win, and it didn't go to plan. I don't know. And, Roman just stared at him and then Heyman went like this to his tribal chief, but just great stuff, great facials by Paul. And I'm really curious to see where this story goes. I do think it will end with Paul eventually turning on Roman and going with Brock, but not for a while. I think they're going to keep teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. And then I think it will either happen in the build to Mania or at Mania, right? One of the two things. So it'll be really interesting to see what goes down, in the coming months. A lot of fun stuff. Roman and Brock are two of the best. It was cool to see Brock back in the ring. It was his first match since WrestleMania 36, which was in front of nobody. So good stuff. Like I said, great show. Top to bottom, I thought every match delivered from the Hell in a Cell to the main event. And now we move on to Survivor Series, and we have the new brands in full effect. The draft goes into effect today, Friday, October 22nd, whereas you're watching this the day before. So the rosters are now locked in. Starts on SmackDown, then Raw. Those rosters will start Monday, the 25th. And we'll see what they do. Like I said, Survivor Series is a kind of it's odd in the sense that all the current storylines maybe will be on hold because they're going to do the Raw versus SmackDown thing. So you may not be getting what's going to be the new Raw feuds and what's going to be the new SmackDown feuds because Raw and SmackDown are going to feud together. So I'm curious to see what they do in the sense of the Raw versus SmackDown thing. We know they're doing it, right? They had the advertisement during Crown Jewel. We knew kind of already, but that confirmed it. Will it be all the championships? Will it be just the elimination tag like they always do a Raw or SmackDown 5 and 5 classic Survivor Series match? If you're looking at Survivor Series and they are going to do the championships, I mean, what you're looking at is Roman and Big E, which they did some business like a month ago. and teased a one-on-one. So that would be cool. You're looking at the Intercontinental versus the US, right? So you're looking at Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which is interesting because that's face versus face. They've never faced off against each other though, so that would be cool. You're looking at we already talked about the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, right? So you're looking at Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's Champion versus Raw Women's Champion. Tag Team Championships, you're looking at the Usos versus RK Bro, which I think would be awesome. I hope that match happens. And then as far as all the other titles, that's kind of it, because the rest are, the Women's Championship, SmackDown, the Women's Tag Team Championships are across both brands, so that's not Raw or SmackDown. And then you do 5-on-5, right? So, I mean, who do you pick? If you're looking on the Raw side, I think, and they're not involved in anything else, I feel like the team's got to consist of Seth Rollins, right? Which is interesting because he just got drafted. I always find it funny that like they do the draft and then like now they're going to represent their new brand just like a month later. It's like they were on the other brand all year long, maybe even longer. Now all of a sudden they're going to fight for their new brand, right? That they've only been on for a few weeks, but it's the way it works. I would put Seth on there, Bobby Lashley, it's kind of hard. Who else, that wouldn't be in a big match? I'll have to think about 3 other people that could possibly, SmackDown, definitely Drew, right? I would put Jeff Hardy on there. I would put Sheamus on there. Who else? Maybe the New Day. You put Kofi, and you put the King of the Ring, Xavier Woods, and kind of round it out. And that could be your 5-man team for SmackDown. I gotta have to really look at it and think about it, which we'll do a Survivor Series episode though. But I'm curious to see, what rounds the teams out. You could put, Owens on the Raw side, right? He got drafted to Raw, so you could definitely put him on there. I don't think Edge will be around for Survivor Series. Otherwise I would say Edge. But we'll see. A lot of different variables. One thing that's unfortunate is The Rock was supposed to be involved. That was the plan for a while, the hope and the plan, from what I understand, for it to be his 25th anniversary. And it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. He's going to be in Australia filming Young Rock season 2. And with COVID, they're very strict over there with their 2-week quarantines. So he wouldn't even be able to come out. This happened with John Cena for WrestleMania. To come back, he can't even come just for the night and go back. You have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So it's just not feasible, unfortunately. It would have been great. Maybe we'll get a video message from him. So it's something. It's obviously not the same, especially I was really looking forward to, seeing The Rock. He hasn't made an appearance since the first SmackDown on Fox back in October of 2019. So it's been a while. But boy, he's hotter than donut grease right now. Just everything he's doing, it's incredible. Jungle Cruise was out over the summer. It's coming out on streaming, services and DVD and Blu-ray and all that jazz. Red Notice, his Netflix movie, is coming out in November. So he's just rocking and rolling, no pun intended. Just did an amazing cover feature for Vanity Fair magazine. He's all over. So from what I understand, the plan is still for him and Roman though at WrestleMania 39 from LA. So that gives him a lot of time to get his ducks in a row and clear his schedule out for that time period. But let's hope it happens. Let's hope it happens. But it's unfortunate. But Survivor Series will be a good show. And then no December pay-per-view WWE has announced, which I think is a good call, especially that they're doing day one. Day one is going to kind of be the December pay-per-view, which should be a cool show. It's a Saturday pay-per-view, which I'm a fan of, as is the Rumble, which they announced, which I will be going to in St. Louis, which I'm very excited for. So I'm curious to see what exactly they do with day one as well, because then you do have the Rumble in only 4 weeks from then. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But, as always, a lot of fun, a lot of, good things coming along the pipe. Survivor Series, 4 weeks away from this Sunday. So Brooklyn, New York. We will talk about Survivor Series a lot. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views. It was the first pay-per-view that I went to live in 2002, the Elimination Chamber. Yep, when Shawn won, one of my favorite moments ever. I went to Survivor Series in 2006, and then the last one I went to was 10 years ago, 2011, from the Garden. Yep, Rock and John Cena versus Awesome Truth. So, and it was awesome. Rock's first match back in like 8 years. It was really cool. I thought we were going to get The Rock again 10 years later. Not in a match, but just in an appearance, but it doesn't look like it. But you know what? If the business has said anything, never say never. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to say never say never. And on that note, I'm going to sign off. A little bit of a shorter episode this week. Sorry about not having one last week. We did have one. It was a Crown Jewel preview show that never saw the light of day because the recording had unfortunately stopped. It only recorded like the first 4 minutes. I did a half hour or a little over of a preview show going on down all the matches, and none of it, or the most of it, did not get recorded. So we scrapped last week and decided to move on to this week. And it's our Crown Jewel review show, which I give Crown Jewel A-. That's the final grade on the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. A-, right here on Mark's Side of the Ring. I'm Fred DeCourt. We will see you next week. As long as this episode recorded, you will be seeing this on Saturday, and we will see you next week. From Mark's Side of the Ring, I'm Fred DeCourt. See you next time.